Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. the man of the people, with a smile on his face for this post-game show, because I did not think I was going to have one at all. The Carolina Panthers clawed their way back into this game. Unfortunately, it was just a little too late, but it made for some exciting football for those who didn't check out, which, I would understand if you did check out. Final score in this game, Carolina Panthers 22, your Arizona Cardinals, or the Arizona Cardinals. It's not your Arizona Cardinals, but the Arizona Cardinals 27. Almost went into overtime, but not even overtime. I'm so excited. Almost went for a Panthers victory, but we didn't quite get it. And I want to know, leave your comments. I'm going to get to them at the end of the show. How are you feeling after this game from today? Optimistic? Pessimistic? What are you feeling? We're going to talk about it. But first, we got some updates for you and photos from the game, of course, by our outstanding photographer, Patrick Snyder. I'm going to go through some stats from the game as well. Going to give you my takeaways and talk about the latest information that came out of the press conference with Bryce Young, Dave Canales, and what's going on in the locker room. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Support independent media if you do have a chance. We're trying to get to that next landmark of 15,000 subscribers. So if you're able to support us in that way, do so. Super chats, cash apps are always welcome. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Let's start with me getting to the right screen. Give me just a second to get to where I need to be to get us started through this. All right, let's go ahead and start with some injuries. I don't have the latest status on these guys, but they did not return. These guys both went out late in the fourth quarter. The two gentlemen that I have would have been Robert Hunt. He left the game questionable with his bicep, and he did not return. We also have center Austin Corbett, who had a knee injury, and he was questionable. He was not ruled out. He did not return. So out of those two guys, you got to think instantly Austin Corbett. What's going on? Not what's going on as in like, come on, man, but just what's going on as in what is his exact injury and to what extent will he be out, if he's going to be out more than just not finishing the game today. So, again, Robert Hunt left the game with a bicep, and Austin Corbett left the game with that knee injury. So let's go ahead and dig into the stats, because the stats do tell a lot of the story most of the time, and I think it's a two-part storytelling to the stats from today's game. Oh, you know what? Before we go into stats, let's go ahead and get you guys some photographs. I just got word that my photographer just got me all the photographs from today. So I'm going to take a moment and get all these to you in just a second. It's probably going to take me, let me see if there's a different way that I can do this quickly here. Yeah, how about that? We found a way to do it. Here we go. Let's go ahead and look at these photographs from the game. Great photographs here. Can't quite tell who that is making the tackle. I do see my man Nick Scorton in on the tackle as well. Great imagery. And then we have here, let's see if we can get this up. This was, we're going to try this again here. All right, here we go. Working through it, but I think we're doing a good job. By the way, super likes, cash apps, become a member, do all that stuff, man. Support independent. You're not, hold on, let me come back to the screen for a second. I will give you $1 if you can find anybody else that's out there in the media that goes live immediately after game as quick as we do, have the recap that we have, and they're not backed by some big old company, right? So I had to say that because I'm really happy about the progress that we're making here at Charlotte Vibe, and that progress is possible by the support that you all continue to do for us. So I want you to continue to be encouraged have an opportunity to be a part of something like, hey, I remember Chris when he was blah, blah, blah. But nevertheless, let's get back to these images and those photographs that we have. There is Hunter Renfrow almost scoring the touchdown. Certainly we were able to score, but he didn't quite make it in on that one. Hunter Renfrow actually just did an interview right next to me. And then let's look at this. We're kind of going backwards here from the past to the present. But here is the onside kick that was recovered by the Carolina Panthers, which I don't know the exact number, but it seems like they have like about a 10% chance or less of recovering this. And this is something that, especially since they made the rules change, you don't think that you're going to see. But you saw it today, and the Carolina Panthers continue to have a great comeback here in Arizona. Just quite not enough to finish it out here. And here we have Bryce Young's reaction to being sacked. And again, let's give a little hand clap to the photographer here, because he always has the best images. You see the Arizona in the background, but there's Bryce getting up after being sacked. I actually saw Bryce walking through the tunnel here as I was getting ready to come out for this show, and he seemed not happy. And I say that because he shouldn't seem happy, right? He should be a little agitated and pissed off. So that was good to see. And then you have another picture here toward the end of the game. Give me a moment. I'm going to bring this up. Here you go. This tells the story of the Panthers losing here. Players sitting on the sideline. And I always laugh because here's the groundskeeper going by. But this is a very good storytelling picture here as the Panthers lose at the last second by not getting any, really not moving the ball at all after getting that ball and after getting the onside kick return here. And this is something that we have not seen too much before today. This is pressure on Kyler Murray. And he showed a little bit of his Lamar Jackson-esque. It's not quite as dynamic as Lamar Jackson, for sure, but he's certainly up in that very athletic kind of guy, and getting some pressure on him. We actually sacked him as well today. So a little bit of a round of applause for some improvements here on the defense as we continue to see what this team is going to look like under Coach Dave Canales in his second year. And now here is a photo of the day for sure. Tetairoa McMillan with a one-handed grab, catching this ball over the defender there. Can't quite make out that name. Is that Burke? But I'm going to criticize Tetairoa here in a little bit. Let me see if I can come back to this in just a second here. See if I'm going to criticize Tetairoa just a little bit. I think now is a good time to do it, right? So for those of you out there who are not, are you a fan of the one-handed catch attempts by Tetairoa? That's what I want to know. Are you a fan of it? Because I like it when I feel like it's absolutely necessary, but I feel like sometimes he's just going to it by default. And what I would like to, honestly, I just thought of something I need to do is go into the locker room this week and say, hey, is that one-handed catch that you're doing really a technique thing that you're just trying to get down where you're using that left hand to kind of give you some space and distance, and then you want to continue to use that right hand to catch the ball? And if that is something that he's doing, I still don't know how much I like it, because in basketball you can do that consistently because you got this big round ball that can fit into the palm of your hand. For football, that's a little bit harder to do because you got an oval-shaped ball to try to catch with one hand. So nevertheless, a little bit of a deviating from the story here, but great picture of Tetairoa with the catch here. So let me bring it back up so you guys can see that, and then we'll continue to work through it. There we go. Tetairoa. I see some of the comments that are coming, and I am going to get to it. I love it. I love those comments that are coming. I love everybody that's tuning in. Thank you so much for checking out Charlotte Vibes live post-game show, the best live post-game show out there on the internet. And now we're going to bring up a great photograph here. I mean, a lot of things you kind of wonder, like, when were you going to see this? And today we finally got to saw it. We got our first sack of the season, and then we also got our first interception of the season. And here's the celebration after the interception right here. Panthers being happy as they should be, as you should be during that moment right there. And Tetairoa had a great game. We're going to get into his stats here in just a second. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Tetairoa McMillan here with another one-handed grab attempt. So, again, I'll touch on it some more later. And it may just be his thing, right? It may become his signature type thing that he does and he perfects, and he's able to use it to unbelievable ways, just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came up with that one-handed skyhook that is now a masterful shot. But very good shot here of Tetairoa bringing in the one-handed grab. And then we got another picture here of Jatavian Sanders that's going to be coming up in 1 second. Here we go, JT Sanders signaling first down. He had a good game as well today. I think he had some career highs as well. Going to continue to work through this. Got a little bit of Kyler Murray here. I like this shot. I like this shot. Good shot here by Patrick. This is Kyler Murray on his butt with J.C. Horn. And it looks like Moreg right beside him here. But actually, this might be a bad thing, because if you got a cornerback and a safety with a quarterback on his butt, that probably means he had just got through scrambling and running down the field a little bit. So, but it's a great shot. It's a great shot nevertheless. All right, we're going to continue to work through here. Next up, we're going to have some photographs of Mr. Bryce Young. There we go, Bryce Young slung the rock a record amount of times today. And then we got a few more pictures we're going to go through here. We got Bryson Tremaine with the nice sweet catch there. And then we got just a few more. We got a little bit of Rico Dowdle coming up, the other running back, Rico Dowdle. And then I got one more shot I want to share with you guys from early on the game. Like I said, today we went backwards. We went from the end to the beginning. And we're going to end with the very beginning of my man Bryce Young warming up here in Glendale, Arizona, as the Carolina Panthers again took on the Arizona Cardinals. Let me get all these off of here. And then I'm going to check the comments really quickly. And, yeah, here I am. Here I am. So we got the comments flowing. I haven't been able to touch on them yet. I'm going to take my trademark sip of water really quick, and then we're going to go and check out the comments. I'm going to go ahead and show this one from Michael, and then my members are here as well, so we're going to get into those. But we got Michael. What is so aggravating is we seem to not be prepared enough. We looked overwhelmed on the first 2 drives, played well during a lot of garbage coverages, and then even when half the team was out, we suck. I like that interesting comment there. And then if you notice that he has a nice picture of his family. But nevertheless, you know, I agree with some parts of that, Michael, and other parts I don't. So the parts that I agree with is the fact that we started out terrible, and there seems to be something about this team just coming out pretty slow. And I honestly did not see the kind of comeback that we had coming whatsoever. But that comeback was pretty good. It was pretty promising. I think it bodes extremely well for this team finally getting their home game as they return back to Charlotte next week to take on the Atlanta Falcons. So I feel like, you know, last season we ended strong, and we were all hoping that the beginning of this season would start off well, continue from last season, and we did not get that exact carryover. But I think it's quite reasonable to expect and believe that after what seemed like, oh, here we go again, getting blown out just exactly like we did in Jacksonville, no, we don't. We're actually coming back, and we have a chance and we lost this one in the last second, last minute and a half or so, that you feel good about this team's opportunities and when they come back to Charlotte and take on the Atlanta Falcons. But, Michael, very much appreciate your comment. Going to touch on a few other comments here. John Morales, so happy to see our guys settle in and fight back. Bryce balled after initial adversity. Absolutely, absolutely. I gotta give a round of applause for that one. I can't agree more. Knucklehead Kid, Chris, I'm mad a little bit. I'm disappointed, and I got questions. All right, well, I'm here for it. I'm here for those questions. So I'm going to get through just a few more. And Bryce Young is walking out right now as I'm speaking to you guys. I kind of had the instinct to say, hey, Bryce, come over here, but that's not going to happen. I am not allowed to interview players as they are on the field. So, Ross. I was like, oh, can't do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at these stats from today, which definitely tells a story. So all of these that you're going to see right here. Pretty much all the information that you're going to see right here are career highs for Bryce Young. There's our special teams coordinator walking by. I wish I could ask him a question, but again, I can't do any of that right now. All these career highs, completions, attempts, and yardage. So 35 completions, 55 attempts, a 300-yard game for quarterback Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 90.6 passer rating. Again, those completions, those attempts, and yardage are all record highs for Bryce Young. Now, this is absolutely where we struggled today. Struggled, failed, challenged, learning opportunities, whatever you may want to call it. But this was definitely a low point of things today. The rushing. We averaged 2.6 yards a rush. Chuba had 10. I mean, we haven't been able to get Chuba off whatsoever. 10 carries, 38 yards. And then, Rico, 1.5 yards. And then this Xavier Legette stat line, I don't even know why he's on here, because if you're going to have a guy that's a wide receiver trying to run the ball, I feel like that's a guy like a Jimmy Horn Jr., a Ted Ginn, like Laviska Shenault. He's no longer with the team, but you have guys like that kind of got that running back feel, but they can't be a running back. Xavier does not give running back vibe feel. So I didn't like that. Fortunately, they only did it once, but I really feel like I have seen Xavier get like a jet sweep or some kind of way where he's getting the ball from the backfield, and I have not liked that at all whatsoever. Let's go ahead and go to the receiving, which is where you should see something from Xavier. We'll actually go ahead and start with Xavier because we were just talking about him. And unfortunately, you see that he is at the very, very bottom of the list here. Xavier Legette with 1 reception, -2 yards. So let's go ahead and talk about Xavier for a minute. Right now, he's not like single-handedly losing games for us. Now, did he play poorly today? Yes. Did he play poorly last week? Yes. But it was much worse last week. And I haven't got any, how are we doing on comments? All right, we're doing good. We're almost up to 200 viewers, so I appreciate that. Hey, leave a comment, tell a friend, retweet this broadcast. Please continue to help us grow. The bigger that we grow, the more that we can do, the more access I can get to players and coaches. So I really appreciate that if you had the opportunity to do so. And I appreciate all the viewers now as we are now approaching 200. And by the way, for those that are out there watching, hit the like button, especially if you're on YouTube. On Twitter, I don't think you can like it, or Facebook, which is where we're also broadcasting. But Xavier Legette, he got some work to do, and he may have a little bit of time. But look at this. He was targeted 8 times. He only caught the ball once. He had the 3rd most targets. and didn't even catch half of them. So he's by far getting into that territory where, like a Bryson Tremaine, who he had a negative yard average. He had negative total yards coming to us from the Washington Commanders, but he's found his groove here. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the other guys here. Let's talk about the guy at the top of this list, Tetairoa McMillan, 6 catches for 100 yards. So I talked about this in the pregame. He only needed approximately 80 yards today to become the leading rookie wide receiver. Now, this stat may be considered a stretch, but he only needed I won't say only. He needed 80 yards to become the leader as a rookie in yardage over the first 2 games. So leading yardage for rookies after 2 games is no longer Kelvin Benjamin. No longer Kelvin Benjamin. It is now Tetairoa McMillan after having his 100-yard game today. So congrats to him. The future does look bright for Tetairoa. Jadavian Sanders also with career highs today on the receiving end with his receptions and his targets. He had 54 yards on 9 targets, 7 catches. Bryson Tremaine, 48 yards. Hunter Renfrow, I like this. Hunter had 7 receptions on 9 targets. Only a 6.9 average, so he was kind of like becoming that possession receiver for Bryce. But I really think what we're looking at here might be what we are going to be looking at as Bryce continues to grow with this young group. Tetairoa, Jatavian, Bryson, and Hunter. I don't want my guy Xavier to be out of it, but he certainly seems to be going in that direction. Let me guys know your thoughts for sure as we continue to work through this. I'd love to hear it. And then we got one more thing. Let's check out the defensive side. Defense, we did better. Didn't do enough, but we did better. Trevin Moreg led us with tackles with 9. Christian Roseboom with 7. And then we got Derek Brown with 3, but he certainly caused a lot more havoc than just those 3 tackles that you saw there. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and give a little round of applause for Princely, I almost had it. Manella. I'm not even going to try today. I didn't practice before coming on here. But Princely with 1 sack, his first sack of his career as an NFL player and the first and only sack for the team today. So Dave Canales talked about wanting to play the younger guys. We all want to see the younger guys think they have some talent and ability, and they showed it today. Getting some stats on here. All right. So I'll let all that soak in. And now we are going to play some excerpts from Coach Dave Canales speaking with the media. So give me a moment. I'm going to cue this up so we can have Canales. All right. Here's Canales. 1 second here, guys. Let's make sure I got my audio right. One second. I screwed up. We'll get it right. We'll get it right. A lot to do as a one-man operation here today. I just lost my spot, but we'll get it right back. Come on, Canales, where'd you go? I lost my spot. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to try this one more time. This is something new that I'm doing this season. We're trying to integrate this, so Excuse the learning curve here, but I definitely have it for you now.
We're not able to play the complementary football that we're looking for, to be able to mix the runs, the play actions, turned it into a drop back game. I love our guys. I love that we battled all the way to the end. Nobody quit. Everybody did what they were supposed to do. As we started to close the game, we have to be able to find a way to play that kind of football early on so we can see what we have. I believe in this group. I'm excited about this group and the players we have out there, but it's the mistakes. And I have to take full responsibility of that, first and foremost, for preparing our guys. And we got to get right back to work.
So there are your opening statements from one Dave Canales. And next we're going to go to him talking about at halftime how they were able to make this turnaround. So bear with me. Again, this is a new thing that we're trying to do, integrate more content from coaches talking as well as players talking it into the locker room. And hopefully this is going to go well, but give me just a second to try to cue up this next piece. Should be coach talking about how they were able to make some adjustments after halftime. So here we go. Let's see if this is good and correct.
No.
Okay, that wasn't it. Maybe it's this one.
Yeah. That's what I saw too, but again, they're officiating this thing live. I have a lot of respect for the officials, and we have to go with the call of the game. I could not have challenged that one, but we ended up using a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff in that situation. So.
All right, so the Charlotte Vibe crew is going to have to work on that just a little bit in terms of getting the timestamps correct so that I can play you guys the video. So I'm just going to tell you what the excerpts were from Coach verbally here. We won't be able to listen to them because, again, we're trying this new process out, and we've got to get just a little bit more fine-tuned. But Coach said at halftime he felt like this team started trusting in one another. Maybe that speech has started to sink in, and guys are talking to each other, and they had a little bit of progress as soon as they came out, and that helped this team start to believe in each other. So he said that really led to the turnaround in that second half, was that trust that he could see these guys building in one another. And also mentioning that this offense, with his play calling, Tetairoa McMillan, as I mentioned there, he had a 100-yard game. His best as a rookie. Certainly, I don't know what all the other rookies are doing today, but I would really have to think that T-Mac is leading rookies right now in yardage, having that 100-yard game today. But he said that they started to key in on T-Mac, and he was doing well. He's a good target. He's a big target. He's pulling them in. He's been effective, and that was something else that continued to contribute to the turnaround that they experienced in the second half. And earlier I mentioned that we had injuries on Robert Hunt as well as Austin Corbett. Hunt with the bicep, Corbett with the knee. Coach was not able to provide any more updates on either one of those guys' injuries today, so you can expect that tomorrow. Typically, we get a chance to speak with Coach at about 1 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll be able to update you on those players and their injuries. All right, and then just a little bit of reporting from what went on in the locker room. Austin Corbett was seen in the locker room standing under his own power, but doesn't know how serious his injury is. But it seems like kind of the same situation when he tore his ACL. Well, that's not good. But this is what's the report are coming. So, and then also with Robert Hunt, he says he's never dealt with this feeling before in his career. So I think that's probably regarding, I'm honestly not sure if that's regarding the loss or the injury. I'm really not. So I apologize again. A few new things that we're doing. We got to get the team back together so that I can make sure that we get these I's dotted a little bit better and these T's crossed. As well as Corbett was seen on the phone crying with his knee wrapped up. So those are some of the reports from the locker room. Well, some pretty deep stuff. Give me just a second. We'll continue to work through this. 1 second. We'll continue on. All right. So those are the latest updates there. And let me continue to work through everything that we have here. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you guys are liking the show so far. I know I'm asking that after I just told you about some learning curve that we're doing here as we try to expand the content that we're giving to you. But you can still let me know what you think about what we're doing so far and breaking this thing down. So, and just me lightly giving the recap for today. Things just started out too bad. You know, we certainly made a good comeback attempt, but things just started off too bad, dug ourselves too big of a hole for this team to get out of, which they honestly, truly almost got themselves out of. So the first big mistake was turnover on first possession. And I was going to say, let's see, I was in the press box up there. Down that end of the field is where Bryce has started the drive with the Carolina Panthers. He's running around, gets hit, ball comes out. One player goes to get on it, they do not. And then Ikem Ekwonu goes to get on it, and he's the one who really helps it out the most, unfortunately, as he goes to smack the ball to try to retrieve it, knocks it even further into the end zone. And then your Carolina Panthers are now down 6-0 prior to the kick, making it 7-0 as the fumble recovery was done in the end zone, giving them 6 points. Now, on that play in which Bryce was sacked and then fumbled, I think they call it a twist, right? It was the guy out on the edge that just kind of waited a second, and then he came straight up the center. They had that. It was a blitz for sure, right? And it was a blitz in which they had more guys than us. Now, I believe our left guard, I believe Austin Corbett could have came off of his block to then come and get the guy in the center since he came up the center. But Corbett was just a little slow in getting off of his block to give help. And then you also had the right guard that was there to try to come in. But neither one of those guys got to him, and the Cardinals were able to, with that stunt, get to Bryce quickly, hit him, fumble, and then you have 6 points, ultimately 7 points. And then next possession, it was on this possession, it was more like of a delayed blitz. I wouldn't completely call it. It was just like an in-between delayed blitz that came from the left-hand side. Again, ultimately, there's not much you can do with that when they have more numbers than you have, more guys than you have to block. Came and got Bryce, hit Bryce just as he was about to throw the rock, and then that resulted in a interception by the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were able to get a field goal going up 10-0 very, very quickly into the game. Give me just a moment. And interestingly enough, and one other note that I have here, I have a few more notes I'm going to touch on for you guys. Our rush defense was holding up pretty well in the first half. I don't know. I'll bring this up here in just a second to see the Cardinals' final rush numbers. But also their receivers, their wide receivers were not really getting the ball. They were working the ball to, as you all know, we have trouble with our tight ends. And they were getting the ball to their running backs. That was it. That was the main thing. So as I say that, let me go ahead and pull up the official numbers for the Cardinals to see if I can back up what I was seeing here with some actual numbers. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, yeah, rushing, I thought so. The Carolina Panthers defense deserves a round of applause. In Russia, they actually didn't defensively. Kyler Murray had 220 yards passing, 1 TD, 1 interception. He was sacked one time. Rushing, they had 82 yards. So that's a big drop from that 200 that we had last week, and they had 82 yards rushing. Now, for their receiving, your leading receiver was tight end Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison Jr. was really, really shut down. But Trey Benson, the running back, also had 30 yards. So we did a good job with the receivers, specifically their threat, Marvin Harrison Jr., and they had to go to their tight end, which has been a good point, high point for this Arizona offense, and we weren't able to stop all of that as well. So I think there's one other note that I want to talk about quickly, and then I'm going to try to answer and go through all of you guys' questions. Oh, Wana was on the interception that I had with that picture, so I forgot to mention that. And then Hunter Renfrow got his first touchdown today. Saw the picture there, and which I showed that he almost had the TD. I should have mentioned it at that point, but Hunter Renfrow got his first touchdown in many, many years today as Carolina Panthers attempted to come back and came up just a little short here in Glendale at State Farm Stadium. So I'm going to take a drink of water, and then I'm going to spend about 5 minutes because I got to catch a flight back to Charlotte tonight, but answering your question. So give me just a moment. We'll take a look at the – actually, let me just – so me showing you guys a beautiful picture of me drinking water. Let's leave you with an awesome picture of, I think I got Hunter. Come on, Hunter. Well, we'll leave you with an awesome picture of Bryce while I take a drink of water. All righty. So let's go ahead and take a look at all these comments. Members get priority first. Oh, I think I already read that one from John Morales. I got to read Donald Duck's because I hadn't seen Donald Duck here in a minute. Like the tie, Chris, but that was a stinker. I turned it off after the third quarter, just puzzled how we regressed from last season. Hey, Donald, I don't know if you're still in the chat or not and watching, but yeah, it was certainly, again, I was already getting my story together for you guys to report on this game about how, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? And they turned it around. That second half was a complete turnaround from that first half. I think we outscored them 13 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, 13-0 in the fourth quarter. So close. And now I'm sure some of you are out there saying, well, if we hadn't have gone for 2 points twice and missed it, then all we would have needed was a field goal. I mean, you also did something that was pretty miraculous in recovering an onside kick, which is unbelievably hard to do in the NFL. So, you know, the pieces fell where they may. Chris, please tell Canales he needs to learn time management. This is the NFL, not JV football. Yeah, you know, just hoping that he has his Ron Rivera moment, which I've referred to before, of just realizing what can he do to get this team to start out quicker. And I know this is going to be probably hard for a lot to hear immediately. And I'll tell you, I was fully prepared to not try to give you guys any kind of optimism if that stinker had to continue in the second half like it started in the first half. But it changed. I mean, you got to say that was a 180 in that second half. And so that's better than it was the first game. Shows improvement in the second game. And now, even though we all still have that, I don't know if this is going to work out, bad taste in our mouth from coaches in the past, we now return home after 2 road trips. And this one out here in Arizona is a long West Coast road trip. And now we get to be home and stay home before yet another road trip to Boston for the New England Patriots. And we play a divisional game, the Atlanta Falcons. So I think there is some room there to be optimistic. And let me make sure I go through all of my members, and then we'll come back and touch on some of the other. T. Green, appreciate you. You had the super chat earlier with the donations. Again, anybody that's watching, I know it's tougher to do after a loss, but here's where I can make it easy for you to continue to support Charlotte Vibe and what we do and help us continue to grow and get more resources to look like ESPN when we do our broadcast, which is the goal. But $1. If people watching, it's $1. we will have enough money to complete the Green Bay and the San Francisco trip. You're going to hear me talking about it until I get it. But appreciate you, T. Green. As she says, hit that like button. And she agrees. We are making progress slowly. I agree. We are definitely making some progress. And see what else we got from our members here. All right, we got South Carolina Panthers boy tuning in. He says XL gotta go. He's not focused on football at all, apparently. So I'm not going to blame the guy's ability or challenges right now on his focus, like saying that he's doing too much with whatever he's doing when he's not here on the field. I'm not going to get into that, because I think if you knew what a lot of these guys did, you might say, well, hey, this guy could be playing better if he wasn't doing so. It's just that all the other guys don't have so much attention on them because of their accent, because of the interesting things that they do on social media all the time. So I just think that it's just a challenge for him as a person, as an athlete, where he's not getting it. What is he not getting? I don't know, but he's not getting it. And this is certainly a step back that it's tough. It's really tough to absorb. But he doesn't have to go yet. But certainly I feel like if you see this for a third game, or if you see it for a third game, that you're absolutely going to see a change with the lineup or the playing time. But I truly think that you're going to see I actually think that you're going to see some changes starting next week with the number of reps that he may be splitting with Bryson Tremaine. I really do. Because Bryson has been outstanding ever since he's come here, right? It's kind of like prove that you belong here. And so Bryson Tremaine did that. You know, you don't believe it the first week, you don't believe it the second week, but from Bryson, you got to see it every single week. So you saw that. And now that we're here in the games, you want to see it every single week, and you're seeing that. And from XL, you are not seeing that. You're seeing the exact opposite from Xavier. So for that reason, I think it's quite possible that we're going to see some snap count changes take place for week 3. But if not, I feel like, gosh darn the heck, Dave, you absolutely got to make some changes come game 4 if XL continues to perform and play like he was playing today. Now, looks like you guys want me to make my trip to Green Bay and San Francisco because we got some super chats, which again helps this channel grow.
Super chat.
XL needs the same treatment Bryce got last year. I'm shaking my head, Knucklehead K, because I'm thinking about that. Give Bryce. So with that, are you saying bench him, or you're just saying start to limit his role, which is kind of what I was just talking about, letting him split more snaps with Bryson Tremaine? I certainly think don't give him any like jet sweeps. Like he doesn't need that. He's not the guy for it. Like I don't think we have a guy for it. We also had Rico do a little bit of the oh man, I can't think of what's the play with the running back. Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain moment here. But anyway, I'm sure you guys will light me up in the comments. But we had Rico take a direct snap, and I'm not against Rico taking a direct snap and that being something that evolves as a part of the offense. I know he has talents as a quarterback, so you're not at all too scared about him being back there handling the ball. But it just seemed to come at a desperate time that I didn't like it. That's all. That's all. But Knucklehead K, appreciate you. And then John Morales, money, mouth, face. Appreciate you, John. Appreciate you, John. Both of those guys and ladies are members, so appreciate that very much from the support. And yep, bench it is K. Okay, we're going to go through some more of these comments here. All right. Falcons are going to give us our first win. All right. I got some comments just stand out. How you doing, nephew? This be your Carolina Uncle Leroy. What up, Unc? He's not officially my uncle, but I like his enthusiasm, so I wanted to put it out there. Let me go ahead and – all right, just wanted to make sure I did not skip over any of my members. Let's go ahead and do a little scoreboard watching here. Let's check out what happened in the NFC South today. So Carolina Panthers, as you know, lost 27-22. Atlanta is currently playing the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. They lead 6-0 in the first quarter. So that means I got to find Tampa Bay and New Orleans. Let's see if I can find those scores for you guys really quickly. So Tampa Bay plays Monday night. And the Saints lost to the 49ers earlier today, 26-21. So your current NFC South standings are as follows. Tampa Bay leads the division at 1-0. Atlanta Falcons, as they are currently playing the Vikings right now, are 0-1. Saints are 0-2. Panthers are 0-2. So that's your NFC South picture as of this moment right here. Rob Smith said, bro, you turning off the lights in the stadium? No, I'm not, but I would not be afraid to if I needed to. And that's just really seriously, guys, all part of the commitment that I have and asking for your support, asking for your cash apps, your memberships and things like that is to provide you access to myself going immediately live, as close as I can to being immediately live after the game, to break down the game as well as interact with you guys and talk, break things down. So that's going to be it for tonight. Live from State Farm Arena. I'm going to stay here. I'll stay here I'm going to try to get through two more. There might be one more super chat that comes. Again, I don't care if that super chat is $1 or $10, but it all just continues to add up and help us do what we do. Let me see if I can look through a few more comments here. Again, I got a flight to catch, so it's a little hard for me to stay here too much longer because I don't want to be rushing too much later tonight to get back to the airport. Oh, okay. We'll go to this one. We'll go to this one right here. Your boy Kales, he definitely needs to be benched ASAP. He's definitely talking about XL. And then put in Jimmy. So, yeah, I think we're far away from that because if you bench XL and then you put somebody into his place, that's going to have to be a receiver that's not just getting a few snaps. They're going to be getting a lot of snaps. You put in Jimmy Horn Jr., he's not getting a lot of snaps. You're not going to want Jimmy Horn out there as many plays as you have Xavier out there. Now, I know you might say you might as well because XL is doing well, not doing too good, but that's no. You still want to make good decisions. And Jimmy Horn Jr. right now is not a player that you're going to have getting 20, 30 snaps. You might want him to have 10 or 15. But, again, if he's having 10 or 15, meaning he's the last wide receiver that's, on the depth chart, so to say, that made it the cut to not being inactive, then he has to be able to contribute on special teams. Look at Jalen Coker. That was something that he was having to do to be on this team to make sure that he made the roster. And, things change and evolve, and Coker's on IR right now. But I don't mind. I don't see Xavier Legette just going from here as a starter, boom, owning the bench. I see it just like, all right, we're going to start reducing. We're going to start bringing up Bryson Tremaine, and then, we'll see where we go from there. Appreciate you much. Let's get through two more here. I think I had my guy here. True K9. Hey, True K9, are you still watching? Leave me a comment, True K9, if you're still watching. I know on the last show you were trying to support us, and you said that you were having some troubles doing some things. So I just wanted to check with you to, in fact, see if you still were trying to do something so I could help you through that. And I don't know if you guys just saw the look on my face, but I just looked to my left, and I could see out the stadium because they're opening the doors. On the field in Arizona, they actually rolled the field out. Now, obviously, they wouldn't do it if I'm standing on it, but I just had to feel like, oh, my gosh, if they start rolling the field out and I'm standing on it, what is going to happen? But nevertheless, the only reason Bryce got 300 yards was because they ran the prevent for 3. I'm going to say he's saying freaking quarters. And that is something that I'm sure was happening because as I'm up there watching, I said, I feel like the Arizona Cardinals defense has changed their strategy a little bit to where they're saying, let them eat up the clock. Because in that first half, drives were short by both teams. But Carolina wasn't scoring. Arizona was scoring. And then you go into the second half, and suddenly both of these teams are getting to like, Carolina had a 14-play, 71-yardish drive that ate up, I think it was close to 8 minutes. And Arizona had pretty much the same thing. And in that third quarter, both teams had the ball for one possession apiece. And in the fourth quarter, it was looking to be a little bit of the same. It shrunk down a little bit, but it certainly started out like, okay, well, man, now we're only getting one possession per quarter because now these teams are having long drives. And I was feeling like Arizona was okay with that because they were scoring. Not until we got that interception, big interception by one of them, did it really change the dynamic. Because if he had not got that interception close to right behind me, then Arizona was going to score, and that margin was going to continue to be easily in their favor. Well, they got the interception, and Bryce Young and company were able to play better, and we went down and scored, and now we had ourselves a different ball game. And then we stole a possession from the onside kick. But back to True K9 training's point, I felt like they were just saying, this works to our advantage. We're scoring at will. They're not stopping us. Let's let them take long. Just keep the guy in front of you. Just keep the guy in front of you. Don't let him run out of bounds. Eat the clock up. We'll get out of here with a victory. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some truth to that. Appreciate you, K9, very much. And then we got one more super chat. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. From T Green. Thanks for giving us your time. We appreciate everything you do for us. Keep pounding. Yes, I'm here for you guys all day, every day. T Green, let me give you a round of applause. A little bit of an air horn. My members that I have here are some really, really good people. All you guys are really good people supporting. Again, I saw some people pregame that had a chance to say hello. But I'm going to have to keep it short because I need to catch the red eye back to Charlotte to get home tonight. Well, what would technically be in the morning. But I have a show tomorrow. All right, because there's still, right now, we've got over 200 people watching, so I want everybody to listen clearly. Tomorrow's show is something that I do after every single game. So 17 times this season you're going to have this show on Monday or the day after they play. They have one Monday night game against San Francisco, so that means there's going to be one on a Tuesday. But what I'm telling you is the day after the game show is dedicated 100% to your questions and your comments and you guys calling in. I repeat, the day after the game, every single game this season, that show is 100% dedicated to me lending my expertise and knowledge. I like to say you have a friend in the media, which is myself, to answering your questions, breaking things down, and talking about this team in the way that you want to talk about it, not just what I want to talk about. So for those of you that I might not have gotten to your question tonight, you can do it tomorrow. For those of you that may have some questions after you kind of sit down and think about some things, please, man of the people, that's what I do. That's what this channel is all about, and that's why I ask for your support, and I hope you all enjoy it. All right, so thank you guys so much for the support, watching. Carolina again falls just short 27-22 here in Glendale against the Arizona Cardinals. Return to take on the Atlanta Falcons next Sunday. I'm Chris Jenkins reporting live for Charlotte Vibe.